एजेंसी की मैं बात कर रहा हूं। भारत की अध्यक्षता अगले साल होने जा रही है 1 दिसंबर।
India Today's Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan joins me now live today morning from Bali for the latest on that. So the first handshake greeting that has taken place. That's the Indonesian Prime Minister President. If you can also help us understand better, Geeta, how is the mood like? And why is today specifically more important? What sort of bilateral meetings are we expecting today by India?
Well, a very important day, the first day of the G20. This is the opening session. President Jokowi welcomed Prime Minister Modi as he did every individual leader of the G20 group. And we are looking at, in moments from now, the beginning. In fact, Pooja, the working session, the first working session has begun. It's the session on food and energy security. Now, G20 this time around, Pooja, is going to focus on three very important aspects that has to do with health architecture. Post-pandemic recovery is the reason why we are looking at health architecture. Food and energy security, a very important component of how to move forward in the wake of the Russia-Ukraine war. And the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi over here is attending the first session, which is a working session on food and energy security, has to do with world leaders coming together to discuss how to really contain the entire crisis that the world is facing today, not only to do with energy but also to do with food. A lot of countries, because of the Russia-Ukraine war, are really facing a acute food shortage, and also to do with environment and climate change. So that's the first session, after which we will be looking at a leaders' lunch where all the leaders are going to meet. In terms of bilaterals, there were about 10 bilaterals that were lined up. We know about a few of them that have been confirmed, which includes, of course, Indonesian President, who is the host of the G20 this time around, as also the UK Prime Minister. After becoming Prime Minister, this would be the first meeting between Rishi Sunak and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Singapore, Australia, Germany, France, all firmed up. But the bilaterals are not going to take place today. Most probably, the bilaterals will be taking place tomorrow. Today, we are looking at the G20 working sessions and the very important Indian diaspora event that is going to take place around 5 p.m. in the evening. The Prime Minister did meet some of them yesterday when they waited at the hotel to welcome him. But it is going to be a larger event.
Geeta, as always, the Indian diaspora never disappoints. It's always full of color, dance, drums. So we'll be waiting for those visuals as well. But Geeta, just staying with you, as we're looking at these visuals of Prime Minister Modi walking a warm greeting with the Indonesian Premier as well. Food, energy and security, this appears to be for now perhaps the most important issues for the world. And like you're also mentioning, whether it's the pandemic or the Ukraine war, this just gains so much prominence. Many others are more political issues. These are as social and unites the world. If we look at other issues as well, about how there are going to be, the highlight of the meeting could be the Chinese Premier meeting the US President. We also have the visual of Justin Trudeau right now meeting the Indonesian head, and that perhaps is going to be reflective of where India stands. We're talking about the top of the top, Geeta.
Well, absolutely. And even in the conversations that were taking place yesterday, we have a G20 and the Business 20, that the two-day summit that took place the day before yesterday and yesterday, Pooja. There was a resonance amongst all leaders on how to connect with ASEAN, with the Southeast Asian countries, but also with India. Canadian Prime Minister yesterday announced an unlimited flight network between India and Canada. Because you mentioned Trudeau, it's important to mention a very important announcement that was made yesterday. Everybody's looking to and looking at India, Pooja, because India is going to take or assume presidency of the G20 for the year 2023, which will begin December 21st. And President Jokowi will be handing over presidency to Prime Minister Modi. There are three important aspects: food, energy security, which is the first working session; Digital transformation, Pooja, very important, because for any solution to all the crises that the world is grappling with, digital transformation is key. So digital transformation is something that they will be discussing in detail. And of course, like we have been saying through and through, health architecture.
Geeta, I do have an added question here. This with regard to specifically Indonesia, as we look at these visuals. Because I've been to Bali, we realize while the Hindu community is in minority there in Indonesia, in Bali, there is a massive Hindu culture representation in symbolism, in statues. So that's also a connect with India. A quick question there before I let you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Pooja. If you're in Bali, you would feel more an Indian from the Hindu faith than anywhere else.
That's true.
I might add anywhere else in the world, because every little place, every little nook and corner of Bali has a statue that is representative or comes from the Ramayana. So it's not just culture, it's also religious heritage and connect that India and Indonesia share. Yes, they're a minority, but they're a large group, and one that now is quite respected and honored. Bali has become a very important city for Indonesia, very important, attractive tourist destination as well. And India and Indonesia are going to work towards this entire circuit of promoting not just Hinduism and the culture, but also the Ramayana circuit, where Indonesia really plays a very important role, particularly Bali.
Very interesting. Geeta Mohan, stay on, and because Geeta continues to bring us the latest, it's going to be a very crucial visit in the beautiful place of Bali in Indonesia. Just started, but Geeta will be updating us constantly about what is happening as and when these bilateral meetings